Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Sir Gavin. So in this video anyway, we will be talking about the derivative. No, it is defined at this time as the slope of a tangent line. So anyway, I have the rectangular coordinate system here, and this is the function. No, actually guys, ating history is the concept. How did we get the slope of a tangent line when we talk about derivatives? So actually, mag-start if start to define of a slope. So remember that the slope of a line, so basically I'm talking about a straight line, is actually, if you remember, it's m equals ang y sub 2 minus y sub 1 is divided by the x sub 2 minus x sub 1. But remember now, kana siya applicable na siya for a straight line. Okay? If it is not a straight line, then dili na siya, no? Lahi na siya. It's because in a straight line man go, the slope is constant. So in other words, example, if na tayo straight line dere, then if this is your first point and this is your second point, the rising over the running is no difference if you have this first point and then you have the second point here. Okay? So ang slope from this point, the slope of AB is the same as the slope of AC. And the same as the slope of BC. So mga pasabot is, ang slope sa AB is just the same when you use A and C and when you use B and C. So any 2 points in the line, no, kung imong gamitan, bisa kung sa points dyan sa line, duha ka buok. If you actually solve for the slope, the same result will come out. Because as I said, no, may tag straight line, the slope is constant. However, no, there's a big difference when you talk about a curved line. So in our example here, we have the function f, the green one, no, mo na yung graph, and it's a curve. So basically, dili na to siya applicable diretso. So here, we will be using the concept of limits. So first nitong buhato, no, ato lang butangan og mga analogy na. So for example, if this is your first point and this is your second point, no, syempre kanini ang duha ka points, it is actually creating this curved line. But, no, if you use this formula, ayan, balik ko na po ha. Kanina points, kanina ka points dali, ito lang ibutang ng PQ. So, this is point P, and this is point Q. Kung yun mo na siyang tanawon, when you connect them, naporma ang green line. Tama? So, it's a curved line, actually. Karon, kung imuha ning gamitan ng formula, remember, applicable na siya for a straight line. So, buot pasabot, if you use P and Q, you are now assuming, no, assuming na nag-assume na ka, ang imuha na yung line is kaniniya. Again, if you use this formula, using P and Q, then buot pasabot, you are not actually solving for a curved line, but you are solving for a straight line. Because remember, kanisiya, applicable na siya for a straight line. Okay? So from there, ang buhato na ito is, actually, ato lang sa ikuan ha. Ito na yung butang mga labels. So this is actually our first value of x. And this is our second value of x. Okay? So, most likely, we call this x sub 1 and we call this our x sub 2. But ato lang usbon ang mga kuano. So, instead of calling x sub 1 and x sub 2, itong buhaton na guys is this. The distance between two values, now the distance, ako na ibutang ha, the distance between the two values of x, the distance between the two values of x is the delta x. Okay? So again ha, the distance between the two values of x, so duha ka values of x, ang ilahadang distansya is called the delta x. So actually, we consider also this one as the change in x. So meaning a change from one x to another value of x. So kibali, if this is the first value of x and this is the second value of x, ang distance silang duha, kanini ang nasa middle, is known as the delta x. So kanina distance the distance between the two values is known as the delta x. So if this is delta x, then kanini ay siya guys, kanini ay siya is x plus delta x. Okay? So I think klaro naman siguro na. Kaya syempre, example, if this is 1 and the distance is, let's say, and the distance is 4, then syempre, kanini siya is 5. Diba, ganyan sa pagkuhang 5. You added 1 and the distance 4, that's why you get 5. So basically, no, in general, we consider x plus the delta x. Okay? So, klaro na siguro, no? Unya, walang tangon, because it's only an example. Syempre, if we have these values of x, ano tayo kitawag na values of y? Okay? So, the corresponding value of y here on the vertical line is kana siya, kung x na siya, function siya, so this is f of x. Okay? And also this one, kani x plus delta x man siya, so to the function, ang replica ng array or ang result ng array, no? This is our dependent variable. This becomes f of x plus delta x. Okay, no? The concept of function, whatever is the value of x here, mo na siya ibutang sa parenthesis there. So f of x, the function in terms of x, the function in terms of x plus the delta x. Okay? So kayo mo na siyang gamiton ng mga things, so kanini sila, hindi mo na gamiton dito sa formula, then this formula becomes m equals ang y sub 2 nimo no? Y sub 1, y sub 2, x sub 1, x sub 2. Okay? So your y sub 2 is f of x plus the delta x. Dayon minus, okay, minus ang y sub 1 nimo is this is actually f of x all over, okay? Your x sub 2 is siya. So x plus the delta x minus, no, minus man na siya, minus your x sub 1 is x. So, di-follow rin ako ng mga formula. Except lang na I am using now, siguro, different labels. Kani siya, imbis nga x sub 1, x sub 2, I'm using now x. And then, kani siya is x plus the delta x. So, x plus the change in x. And sa PCAS po, same story. So, actually, kung yung muna siyang i-consider, kani siya deri is the delta y. Okay? Kay y man siya, y sub 1, y sub 2. So, kani deri is our delta y. But anyway, so from here, pwede mo siya i-simplify. No? X minus x na, so makancel na sila. Which means this is just equivalent to f of x plus the delta x minus the f of x all over, no? Cancel lang daw ka x, so you have delta x na lang ang mahibilin. Okay? So what's next? Now actually, kung imo ni siyang buhaton, you again ha, kung imo ni buhaton, you are not solving for the slope of the curved line. Instead, you are solving for the slope of the purple line, which is a straight line. Because again, remember na inong ko ninyo ganina, kani siya, applicable na siya for straight lines. So, curve na itong gisgutan because the function is a curve. Ang atong function ng kaning green na, o kanang ang curve na to diha, mao na atong function, not the purple. Ang kaning purple is what we are doing if we use this right away. So, not a strategy for that. No, nga mo come up man tag slope of a tangent line. Sir, dili mo na siya tangent, di ba? Kanini ay mong purple line is not a tangent line, but a secant line. Now, if you remember a secant line, the secant line is a line which touches the curve at exactly 2 points. So, mo ni ang secant line na to. So, di na siya matawag na tangent. How did they come up with that? No? Anong nagtawag makong tangent na secant, manday na? So, that's why, no, mayroon ko, there's something wrong with our solution. So, here, ang mong buhaton is this, no? What if we consider, di ba, ang delta x, tanawan mo, medyo spacious pa kayo siya. Ang buhaton na to is, atong idikit ang duha ka points. Unsa di may tabo guys kung dikit na to. Sige na ito, hinahinayon lang sa nato, no? Ito tagla yung color siguro, maybe blue. Hinahinayon na to siya. So what if the ion, so the difference, kung naan na diri ang ato ang Q, so naan diri ang second point. So actually, kayo mo na i-connect ang duha, kana no? Kayo mo tanawon. Okay? It is still a second line, second gihapon siya. Pero, kung imong tanawon ang difference, ang kanang na ang blue line is somehow, no, ninduol-duol siya sa green line. Okay, may kumpara ha. Kanini ang purple line, kanini ang first na itong line. Kung ikumpara mo sa green, there's a really big difference. But kung mo ipaduol ang Q somewhere here, okay? So kung ipaduol mo ang Q dire, then ang may tabuan na is what? Ang imuhang blue, dili gyapon siya pareha sa green. But somehow, medyo duol-duol siya kung ikumpara nimo sa kanang purple. So what if, no, unsa di ay mahitabo? Kung ang Q ni mga point is really very close to P. So what if dikit na kayo sila? So kung dikit na kayo sila, okay, mo na niya ang line na to. So actually, di haragod nga part rag yun na siya, ako lang i-extend para ma-emphasize na to ang second line ng tangent line. So the idea di is, if Q is getting closer to P, the more it is representing the curve. Balik ko na ko ha. Kung ang usa ka point there is approaching a point, another point, or actually, dili man necessary nga kung saan ka point, no? Bisag unsa man, pwede mag silang duha gani approaching each other, no? So, kung magdikit dahil magkaanam o kadikit, magkaanam o kaduol ang duha ka points in a curve, okay? The second line will, unsa man, murag mahitabuan na is, ang second line daw nimo, magkaanam-anam siya og represent sa curve. Okay? So, kana, nahimo inani, nahimo inani. So, ang iyang behavior is magkaanam sa kapariha sa imong curve line. So, magkaanam lang kapariha. So, di ta maingon na exactly the same. It will just be approximately the same. So, estimate ra kita kutob. Okay? So, that's the nature of kana ang solving for the slope of the curve line. So, in fact, kung imong tanawon, later on, ma-realize na to na nga ang mga slopes sa ato ang curve line di ay different from each point. So from here guys, sa mahitabo di ay, kung Q da, ako ang gibuhat daliha is ang Q nagpaduol sa P. So mingon ko, if Q di ay, no, if Q is approaching P, okay? If Q is approaching P, ang Q magkaana mo kaduol sa P, ang imong second line is also approaching a tangent line. Again guys, approaching pa ni siya. Approaching na siya, so di siya exactly the same. Kaya di ba kung may ngunta o slope sa line, dapat na iduha ka points. Again, basta slope sa line, na iduha ka points. Now, if Q will be exactly P, kung exactly P gid siya, then mawala na ang concept. Dili na nimo maporma ang line. Because we have to preserve the idea nga dapat duha ang points para na straight line. Definition of a straight line is composed of at least 2 points. Now here, kung himuon nimong Q pareho sa P, dili maporma ang line. Okay? So that's why ang gibuhat nato is what? Q is only approaching P. Padong lang siya sa P. Unya, if it happens, ang imong second line is approaching a tangent line. Na, di ba ang tangent usar man na kani duha man ni. Pero this time ang god, ang duha ka points are very close to each other na. So kung dikit na kay silang duha, so somehow ba makaingon na ta nga second ihapon siya, but this time it is approaching a tangent line. Okay, so I think laro naman siguro na. Unya, while it is happening guys, no, you have to understand as well na kung mahitabo na siya, Q is approaching P. Di ba? Tanawa na ito ng logic ha. So Q, pag balhin diri, kung sinahitabo sa X, sa second value of X, di ba na diri? No? Kung mo ang first scenario, mo ang second. So mahitabo is, ang second value of X, na diri dapita. And notice that delta X, ang distance between the two values of X, are getting smaller. Okay, ang distances nilang duha, di ba? So, mo yung first distance, mo yung second distance. Notice ka nagkagamay siya. How much more, no? Kung naanagid diri, dikit na kaayo silang duha. So, ang delta x nimo, kung magkaduol ang duha ka points, magkaanam sa kadigkit, magkaanam sa gamay ang delta x. Okay, so when Q is getting closer to P, then ang distance between the two values is also getting smaller and smaller. In other words, in symbols, we consider that delta x di is approaching 0. Okay, so hopefully, I think klaro naman siguro ni. Okay, so what we did is this. We let Q be approaching P. Okay, why? Because syempre, notice na the straight line is not representing the curved line. Okay, because we are interested in the curve. We are not interested in the straight line. Next, when Q di is getting closer to P, ang imong second line, nagkaanam siya o katangent. Okay? So, notice, the second line now is approaching a tangent line. But again, it's not really a tangent line. No? Maybe it's best described as the best estimate sa tangent line, but it's not really the tangent line. Pero sa ato lang, no, we consider it tangent line right away, more likely because of the idea of limits. Sa limits man god, murabag, the difference is not significant anymore. So, mura o dikit na kayo sila in a way nga makonsider na ito siya, mura wait, it's just a tangent line. Somehow, mura ba o if you have money, 99.9999999, siguro 100 na lang siguro, no? Somehow like that ba? Mura ba approaching 100 siya? Well, okay, it's just 100 because the difference is not significant. Same story nga, second line is approaching a tangent line in such a way nga, duha ka points is very close na good to each other. So, we'll just say, okay, it's just tangent anyway. So, that's why we have here, this one manggol po nga, mayroon ta, slope of a second line approaching a tangent line. Medyo complicated na ang definition. Instead, we'll just say slope of a tangent line. Much convenient. Okay? So, from here, makreate na din nato ang definition. Okay, so this is derivative di. This is derivative. So, ang derivative di of the function, okay? So, the derivative of the function, or actually, ako lang isuwat this way, the slope di of the tangent line, okay, MTL, the slope of the tangent line, is just equal to, kanos aga ni siya, no? Kani, mo man yung slope, okay, butang ha, okay, butang mo na yung slope sa line, x plus the delta x minus the f of x all over the delta x. So, mo man yung slope, no? Slope na siya sa line. How do we make sure nga this line is a tangent? Okay? Or at least, approaching a tangent. O, naas mabawa ito ang mga kuwan. Muna ito ang mga gipangbuhat kanina. We can only say na this is the slope of the tangent line if and only if the delta x is approaching 0. Okay, balik ko na ko sa tanong. When can we, di ba, slope na siya og line. Okay, more likely, anaon pala na to siya. Okay na, slope na siya og line. Slope sa line. Straight line. No, I'm talking about straight line. Now, how can I make sure na kani nga straight line is tangent? Okay? Ano sa siya may mong tangent? Matangent siya kung Q is approaching P. That means delta x is approaching 0. Okay, so mahimo din siyang tangent line, okay? I can make sure nga mahimo na siyang tangent line if the delta x di is approaching 0. So I can apply the concept of limits. Oh, now this time, karon makaingon na gid ko. The whole thing here is the slope of the tangent line because there is a condition that delta x is approaching 0. Sa ginaani, when delta x there is approaching 0, meaning the second line is approaching tangent line. Why? Because Q and P are very close to each other. So, kanina scenario na akong ipasabot, ana. Okay? So that's how we come up with this thing here, the general formula in solving for the derivative of the function. So basically, derivative of the function here, we'll just say that it is just the slope of the tangent line. And this is the full explanation. Okay? So thank you for watching my videos. Just see you in the next videos for the examples.